What's going on, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry. Welcome into the show. We got a great slate of Steelers rumors to cover with you today. First, we're going to talk about J.J. Watt, how he said that he is all in Steeler Nation. We're going to be talking about that and what that might mean for his future. And then also, Bleacher Report came out with some trade targets for the Steelers to go pursue this offseason, breaking down that list and my thoughts. And then finally, there's a new ESPN mock draft, and I'm going to react to that. So it says reactio there. It's reaction. I'm going to be reacting to that mock draft. It's going to be a fantastic show, guys. Let's jump right into it here. But before we jump into it, these are the reasons why you subscribe, guys. We got Steelers videos every single day here on the channel. We got weekly live shows now. We're actually recording this during our first live show ever on Thursday. But every single Thursday we're gonna have a live show. So if you want weekly Steelers live shows, go ahead and subscribe. And then also we keep it as interactive as possible here on Steelers Talk. We do mailbags regularly. We get your voice on the show. The most interactive Steelers community on YouTube. And then also more subscribers equals more viewers. We're a company here at Chat Sports. We go where the money flows, right? And if we get more subscribers, that means more money. More money means more videos here for you to enjoy. And then also, lastly, it's 100% free, right? It doesn't cost you anything to join our community of fantastic Yinzers. Go ahead and click that subscribe button right now for daily Steelers news and rumors content. All right, so first let's talk about J.J. Watt and how he's joining Steelers Nation, but maybe not in the way that you are expecting. He went on the 412 podcast, and he went on to say that he's a Steelers fan. He's a big Steelers fan, and that he's all in on the Steelers. Before he entered the NFL, it's been known that J.J. Watt was a Packers fan, but now that both of his brothers are currently with the Steelers organization, he says that he is all in on the Pittsburgh Steelers, that he is a Steelers fan as he enters into retirement. And although I think it's still pretty unlikely that he ends up coming out of retirement because he made a whole slew of different appearances and all this great stuff, great content of him, saying his goodbyes. I think it'd be hard for him to come back to the NFL after that. But if he does decide to come back, I think it would be for the Steelers. I mean, he says himself that he is a Steelers fan. Both of his brothers play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He says he's all in on Yinzer culture right now. So go ahead and go and like this video right now to welcome the newest member of Steelers Nation, J.J. Watt. If for some reason, J.J., you're watching this video, I welcome you to Steelers Nation. You are now dubbed a Yinzer. So go ahead and like this video right now to welcome J.J. to Steeler Nation. So now let's get into some pretty juicy trade rumors going on here. Bleacher Report came up with 3 names to look out for in terms of trade targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2023 offseason. Their first name, boom, Josh Allen, the edge rusher out of Jacksonville. And to pair him up with T.J. Watt would be absolutely insane. This is what Joe Tanzi from Bleacher Report, who wrote the article, what he had to say. He says Jacksonville is $32 million over the salary cap per Spotrac, and it needs to shed some deals in the offseason. Allen is scheduled to make $10 million in 2023, and then he goes on to say Allen would be 1-year rental to start, but he could be inked to a longer-term deal to partner T.J. Watt in the pass rush. Pittsburgh could go after a young inside linebacker in the draft to fill in any potential gaps in the middle. Now, I really doubt that this happens, guys. I think the Steelers really like Alex Highsmith, and in order to make this deal happen, you almost certainly have to get rid of Alex Highsmith. Like, you have to trade him. If you're going to combine Josh Allen, who's slated to make double-digit $1 million, like 8-figure contract next year, along with T.J. Watt, who's the highest-paid edge rusher, it just doesn't make sense to have Alex Highsmith around, and I just don't think the Steelers are operating with that mindset. I think they want to keep Alex Highsmith around. Maybe if they want to get rid of him, maybe if they don't want to give him an extension, maybe they think about this. And dang, it would be scary to have Josh Allen on one side and T.J. Watt on the other. But I just don't see this scenario happening whatsoever. So go ahead and go into the comments section right now and tell me, who's a player that the Steelers should trade for in 2023? Let me know in the comments section right now. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, go ahead and go into the comments section, find that pinned comment. It'll be right there at the top, and give me a player that the Steelers should trade for. Next player on Bleacher Report's list was Donovan Smith, the offensive tackle from the Buccaneers. Smith has had some good years in the National Football League. He's been a solid left tackle for a while, but this year he definitely had a down year. This is what Joe Tainsey had to say about the left tackle. Smith should be a trade candidate based solely on his contract, and then if you add his performance in, the Bucs could look to get rid of him and find a younger anchor to their offensive line. Then he goes on to say the Steelers could take the younger option as well, though, or through the draft, and that is probably the cheaper option, but they leave no stone unturned in the quest to protect Kenny Pickett, who was taken down 27 times in 13 starts in his rookie season. And obviously, getting taken down 27 times in 13 games is not ideal for your young quarterback, but I don't think that the Steelers should trade for an offensive tackle. I'm not even sure if they should sign one in free agency. Usually if there is a good left tackle in the National Football League, the team does not get rid of them, right? The reason why that player hits the free agency market or gets traded is because he's got injury issues, he's getting old, the contract sucks. Like, there's a bunch of different reasons. And for me, guys, I just don't want to draft or not. I do want to draft, but I don't want to trade or sign an offensive tackle. I want to address that in the draft. So here is the offensive line depth chart as it currently stands for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Chukwuma Okorafor is probably a cut candidate. It sounds like Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan like the interior of the offensive line right now, and I think Dan Moore Jr. is a prime candidate to move over to right tackle. I'm just not sure if he is a true left tackle in the National Football League. All right, guys, let's have a word from our sponsor today at BetUS, which is the sportsbook partner here at Chat Sports, and they're offering you guys a fantastic deal just in time for the Super Bowl, a 125% deposit bonus on deposits of $100 to $600 when you use promo code Steelers125 at chatsports.com/bet. Guys, it's Super Bowl week. It is the biggest game of the year, and you really need to take advantage of this opportunity, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, they're doing you can do a bunch of different prop bets at BetUS as well. You can bet on the color of the Gatorade. Personally, I think it's going to be red or pink. I'm taking the plus 500 there, trying to make some money. You could do anytime TD. Whenever a player scores a touchdown, right? You could bet on Travis Kelce at negative 155 odds to score a touchdown at any time. That's about as good of a bet as you can possibly make because he always scores a touchdown. All right, guys, BetUS, they do a fantastic job. They are my favorite sportsbook app and website. I really do appreciate everything that they do for the channel here. So go ahead and go to chatsports.com/bet and use Steelers125 to get that 125% deposit bonus. And the last name that Bleacher Report put on their trade targets for the Steelers was Hunter Renfrow, the wide receiver, the slot receiver from the Raiders. And this one kind of came out of left field for me because I'm like, are the Raiders really shopping Hunter Renfrow? But this is what Joe Tainsey had to say about the slot receiver. Las Vegas is $17 million under the cap, but if someone like Aaron Rodgers were to come to the franchise, that number drops significantly because of Rodgers' large deal. Then he goes on to say Pittsburgh should be far from content with its wide receiver room, especially with Johnson coming off a season in which he caught 58.5% of his targets. Now, I think that Tainsey is kind of taking that number with DJ out of context. I think that there's some poorly thrown balls. I think that, yes, he does have some concentration drops, and he's not the best 50-50 ball or contested catch receiver, but he gets open more than just about anybody else in the league, and that's kind of Renfrow's bag as well. He gets open a lot. He's a great route runner, not necessarily a great athlete, but he is a fantastic route runner. He always gets open, but I just don't think it's a realistic option. I think that he's in the Josh McDaniels offense, you need somebody like Renfrow that can win those option routes early in the slot. I mean, you look at Wes Welker, you look at Julian Edelman, you need that slot guy to really accentuate that offense with Josh McDaniels. So I don't think Renfrow is going to be up for sale. But let me know which player is most likely to be traded for by the Steelers. Type JA for Josh Allen, type DS for Donovan Smith, or type HR for Hunter Renfrow. Personally, I don't think any of them are likely. I think probably the most likely is Donovan Smith, and I really don't want the Steelers to do that personally. But let me know in the chat right now what you guys would do. All right, so now let's react to a mock draft. ESPN brought out a mock draft with their draft analyst, Matt Miller. We reacted to a terrible CBS Sports mock draft the other day, but Matt Miller did a 2-round mock draft, actually. And so the Steelers have 3 picks to choose from here. First one is really, really good. They take Christian Gonzalez, my number 1 cornerback in this year's NFL draft. I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. I just think when you combine his coverage ability with the ball skills that he added this past year, with the size, with the speed, with the short area quickness, he's so fluid and so smooth. He is one of the best cornerback prospects I've ever evaluated on tape, and I've been doing it for probably about 5 years now. I really like this kid. If he fell to 17 to the Steelers should absolutely grab him. This is a fantastic pick in this mock draft. And then in the second round, kind of an unconventional pick here, John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota. Now, I'm from Minnesota, and, he's a good player. He's probably the best center in this draft class, but is this really a pressing need for the Pittsburgh Steelers? You could maybe make an argument. Mason Cole had a pretty darn good season in 2022, but, over the course of his career, he hasn't really shown that he can be a consistent performer. So you could definitely say, go get an offensive center, someone that can play guard as well. John Michael Schmitz is one of the best interior offensive linemen in this year's draft class. So I don't hate the pick. I'm just wondering why he didn't go offensive tackle here. But, at the end of the day, he does have them taking Anton Harrison at 50th overall, which is pretty decent at number 50. I think at 50, Anton Harrison is a value. He is a good player. He needs to develop his play strength a little bit, but he's a fantastic athlete from the left tackle spot. He's somebody that needs to build up his frame just a little bit more. He's a big human. He just needs to get a little bit stronger, and his anchor needs to be a little bit better. But I really like him as a player. If you switch John Michael Schmitz and Anton Harrison in this mock draft, I probably wouldn't mind it either. But overall, not a bad mock from Miller, in my opinion. I think getting the number 1 corner in this year's draft class is absolutely a steal at number 17. And then you add 2 offensive linemen in round 2 that are really going to help solidify protecting Kenny Pickett for the years to come. So go ahead and go into the comments section right now and grade Matt Miller's mock draft on a scale of A, B, C, D, or F. For me, I'm going to give it about a B. It's pretty good. I would be happy if this actually happened for the Steelers, but it wasn't perfect in my opinion, so I will refrain from giving him an A.